Hello everyone. I'd like to spend a moment today to talk about our toes and some toeability. I think we tend to forget and neglect our toes are such a foundation, or our feet are such a foundation for like what our bodies stand on and like perform on. And if we don't have strong, healthy arches or strong feet, or our feet are out of alignment in any sort of way, that's going to affect our postural alignment and how we stand. If our toes get crammed over time, if we're wearing shoes that cause our toes to be cramped up, then that affects, where our weight is placed on our feet all the time, and that can affect whether or not like one hip is shifted to the side, or like our knees are like bent to one way or another, which affects our like shoulders and everything else. So it's always good to have some strong feet that are pretty stable and that can hold us in all different kinds of positions, all kinds of balancing positions, both feet, toes, arches, ankles, all the way up through calves and shins, as we remember back from the first video. So what I'd like to talk about today and go over is a few different moves that you guys can do at home just to get some more strength in your toes, okay, to strengthen up those arches. Maybe you'll discover a few things about your toes and feet that you may have not before. So first thing I want to go over is actually just a standing exercise. So we're going to stand up here, and basically we're going to have our feet side by side, and go ahead and come up on your toes. Now, if you're like most people, as you can see, your ankles will probably flare out to the sides like this, and that's totally distributing your weight, not quite evenly and totally out of alignment. And what we want to do is work on, as we lift our lift our heels up in the air and come to our toes, to get them as straight as possible. So we're going to do some toe raises, and to work on getting our ankles to be a lot more straight aligned, you can have a towel or a lax ball, and you're going to go ahead and put that right in between your ankles here, and you're going to hold that towel firmly between your ankles, and we're going to get 15 toe raises. So you're going to come up on your toes and then right back down, continuously squeezing that towel or lax ball, baseball, anything. Like here's a protein bottle shaker. You can basically kind of use anything that's about a few inches wide. That's going to keep your ankles in alignment. So about 15 toe raises, and then do a little bit of a pause, so like a 1-second pause as you come up on your toes and right back down. And you're finding right away that's going to be testing your balance. It's going to be testing the strength of your toes, the arches of your feet, in order to hold yourself up there a little bit more. So getting about 15 toe raises is a first start. Now let's talk about a couple other things that you can do to work on a little bit of toe strength. You may or may not be able to do these. I definitely know that I can't do these to the absolute best that we can, but this is what we're going to try. So first thing we're going to do is raise all of your toes, fan them out, and then slowly one by one, going from the pinky, ring toe, middle, index, and big toe, you're going to lower them down and then reset. So raise all the toes, fan them out, reach them as high as you can. Try to get your pinky as high as your big toe. And then going from the outsides, pinky, ring, middle, index, and then big toe down. So let's do that about 10 times. And again, it's working a lot of the strength on the outsides of the foot, just kind of everywhere, having the coordination to be able to do this. So again, you're going to raise your toes all the way up, fan them out as wide as possible, get them high, try to get your pinky toe in line with your big toe, and then coming from the outsides, lowering them one at a time. This is a really nice way to get your toes kind of, spread out just a little bit more if they've been cramped up in shoes all day. Best thing to do is try to go barefoot as much as you can, or try to start wearing shoes that are a little less constricting on your feet. And I know that's kind of tough to do, but as much as you can, really try to give your toes some time to breathe. All right. So after you've done about 10 of those, I don't remember how many I did, probably about 6 or 7. So now what we're going to do, might be a little bit tough for you guys to try. You're going to keep your 4 little toes down, and you're going to try to raise your big toes as high as you can in the air. So see if you can do that. So there we go. And then lower it down. So do that for 10, and about 1 to 2 second pause with each one. So you want to really press those other 4 toes firmly on the ground. Try not to curl them in if you can, but raising the big toes and then back down. So doing that 10 times. And now you're going to do the opposite, so you're going to press the big toes into the ground, and then you're going to raise those 4 toes as high as you can off the ground. And doing that about 10 times or so. So you can already see it's like tackling all the different outside edges of the foot. You might even feel like a little bit of cramping, and that's totally normal. It's because you're not usually used to, moving your feet around, using this motion all the time. It's, we restrict our feet so often in the shoes that we wear that it's very rare that we actually, work on mobility or strengthening of our feet as often as we should. All right, so this next one is going to be a little tricky, and I'll try to show you guys what to do. So what you're going to try to do is raise the arches of your foot, and you want to keep your toes pressed firmly down to the ground and kind of grip the floor, and then release. Now the goal is not to curl the toes under as you're doing this, but you want to keep all the toes planted. Try to squeeze along in the arches of your foot, grip the floor, and release. Right? And especially you want to work on the area of the big toe, so really feel the big toe grabbing and gripping the ground. So just grip the ground there. My toes are starting to curl, so you got to try to keep them flat and release. So again, you're going to find that some of these are just really difficult to do. You're not used to moving your feet or strengthening your feet in this way. So again, gripping the ground with your toes, pressing them down to the ground, and then releasing. And holding each one for about 3 seconds or so with each. So doing that about 10 times. And now, last thing we're going to do is the classic, if you grab your towel, we're going to be trying to grab the towel with our toes. Now the first, instead of trying to grab with all the toes at the same time, let's actually just work on the outer 4 toes, so the little 4 toes, and without the big toe interacting, just trying to grip the towel and trying to drag it towards you with your 4 toes. And obviously I'm having quite the biggest issue here, but as you can see, this is really good work for trying to control your foot in all different sorts of ways. So again, trying to grab that towel, maybe doing this about 20 times. Trying not to engage, there we go, trying not to engage the big toe, but just the little toes. It takes a little bit to get used to. And then trying it on the other side. So big toe, not active, but using the 4 toes. My right tends to be a little bit better at this, at gripping that towel. So what we're really practicing here is, again, using all parts of the feet, trying to really get those engaged, really getting in touch with all the different muscles and bones and everything that are present in our feet that we never usually pay attention to. I know it's so easy to think about all the other parts of our body, like arms and hips and legs and shoulders and blah, 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 but our toes and our feet are such the foundation for which we, set our bodies on, and it's just as important to make sure that those get just as much attention. So after you've done about 20 grips with the towel with the little toes, now you're going to take the big toe and try to grab the towel and pull it in towards you without using the other toes. So again, this is very difficult, very hard. Using the big toe is going to work your inner arches just a little bit more. There we go. About 20 times, and then we'll switch. But it's a nice kind of little break, Work on your feet for once. So I hope you'll get a chance to try a few of these moves. Actually, I've got one more for you, and this is a move that I'm going to give some credit to Katie, who teaches our yoga class on Sunday mornings. She calls this move toe breaker, and let me see if I can prop up here what we're gonna do. Sort of. Okay, so basically you're gonna start, you're gonna get on your toes. You can have your hands down on the ground, and you're basically just gonna sit your butt onto your heels, and if you can, lower your knees to the ground and just sit back on your toes here. So this is called toe breaker. Really try to get those toes spread nice and wide. And you want to hold this for try 2 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes. Eventually you're going to work up to, she said, around 8 to 10 minutes, which is going to take quite a long time to be able to do that, but it's a really good stretch. It's throughout the whole bottoms of your feet. So again, if you have a chance to just kind of, if you're sitting at home, not doing much, maybe you're on your computer, get one of those, just set it up on like your ottoman or something like that, and just go into this toe breaker pose for a little bit right after you did all those other toe exercises, and you are going to be on your way to a little bit more happier, healthier, and more flexible and mobile feet. So get some TOEbility done this week, and hopefully you can use this more often.